What's up, guys? Welcome to the 419 Outdoors. Today we're going to do a little project indoors. Stick around. Okay, so today we're going to make some beeswax candles. Thought this would be a fun little indoors kind of do-it-yourself project. I'm going to show you how to do this with items that you most likely just have sitting around the house. It shouldn't be an expensive thing to do, just something to have a little fun with, especially if it were to be raining outside, which it's not, but I don't have a lot of time today for extracurriculars. So we're going to get right down to it. The first thing you want to do is gather up all the materials that you need for the project. And very, very simple. You need a pot, a big pot, to boil some water in, or heat up water. This doesn't have to boil, but anyway, boil water in. You want a smaller pot to put your wax in, and I made a little pour spout on mine because I didn't have one, and it would make a giant mess if I didn't. So just a pair of big pliers and made a little pour spout on that. You want something to kind of just give the wax a little stir as it's melting, so just have a paint stick here. You'll want your wicks, preferably already tabbed. Your beeswax, 16 ounces or 1 pound here. You'll want some Dixie cups. These are 5-ounce Dixie cups. And since it's 1 pound, I'm going to divide these up evenly, so that's 4 ounces per cup. And I don't know if you can see, but there's a little black mark on there, so I can tell when I have 4 ounces, give or take. Probably going to lose a little bit between cutting it and what won't pour out of the smaller pot, but give or take about 4 ounces each to 1 pound should do the job. The other thing you're going to need is something to hold the wicks in the center of the cup. So this can be done with many things. It can be done with, I used a piece of copper wire and just made a loop in it. You could use twisty ties, just right off your pack of bread or anything like that. Any packages you would get most likely will have these. The item has a cord with it, so these could be used here. So just something to sit on top of the cup to hold the wick in place in the center here as you pour in the wax. I don't have it out, but you're probably going to also want some sort of spill cloth or something like that. I'll likely just use paper towel. If I spill it, I spill it. So let's get down to step number 1, which is going to be cutting the wax, putting the water in, whichever you feel like doing first. I'm going to get the water in and get it heating up while I'm cutting up my wax. Okay, here's our pot of water heating up. You want to get it kind of full, but you don't want it so full that it's going to boil over the top. But it should be enough that your other pot sits in here, just like so. And then the wax will sit in this pot here. You don't want to put your wax directly in a pot and then directly on a burner. You will definitely burn your wax. You need to use this system here in order to do so. So we're going to go cut up the wax while this is heating up and getting ready to go. Okay, the next step is going to be to cut this up into smaller pieces. That way it will melt faster and melt easier. Move these things out of my way. So let's crack this open and get down to it. The thing I'm actually looking forward to most with doing this part, at least, is getting to smell this. Because, oh yeah, a little beeswax, a little bee and honey smell. Let's see. So, this is a wood table. I'm not really too concerned about cutting it up on the table, but you may want to use like a cutting board or something like that. So, I don't expect to cut this into very big chunks, but anything will help. Okay, so here is our beeswax cut up into slightly more manageable chunks. I could probably go smaller than this and melt a little faster, but the next part of the process, or when it actually comes to pouring it, it goes real quickly, so I'm not really too worried about the amount of time that it's going to take to have this melt. So at any rate, relatively small amount of mess, which is good for me, but I'm ready to get this heated up and make some candles. So I'm going to get this in the pot and melting, and we'll get the cups set up and all ready to go. Alright, so here's our beeswax in the smaller pot here. And we're just going to give that time to heat up and melt. So in the meantime, let's go get the cup set up. So when this is melted, we're all ready to go. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is set up my cups. Let me get them all laid out here. Now I need my wick holders. I guess that's what I'm going to call them, wick holders. We'll need those. We'll need our wick. So we need 4 of these. That's how many we're pouring today. And I've got way more than I need left over, so if I ever get bored, I can do this again. So these are 6-inch wicks. Way longer than I need them, but better too much than not enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my wick, I'm going to put it through the wick holder, and then I'm just going to set this in my cup. Center that up. I'll show you what that looks like on the inside. Okay, so here's our cups all finished. You want to get the wicks as centered as absolutely possible. You know, it's not going to be perfect, doesn't have to be perfect, but as close as humanly possible for sure. Your candle will just burn better that way. So now that they're all set up, we just wait for the wax to melt, and we can get down to finishing this up. Alright, all of the pieces are in. We're just going to kind of patiently, semi-patiently, wait for this to melt all the way down, and we'll be ready to pour. Shouldn't be. Once your wax is melted, you need to move rather quickly. Let's see if I can do this without spilling a bunch of it. Yeah, spilled a little bit. I guess this is why you use drop cloths. But it's wax, so it'll peel right up. I'm not worried. Alright, so as you can see, nothing fun is ever clean, and making a mess is half of the project. So they're sitting in the cups, drying. That was a little more than a pound. Those are 5-ounce cups and they're full. So we're going to let those dry. I'm going to clean up the table, and we'll check back on them likely tomorrow. Give them good amount of time to dry, and we'll peel off some cups and cut some wicks and have some candles. Okay, here we are. They are all dry. I went ahead and opened one up. As you can see, turned out pretty nice actually. So we'll go ahead and open one here for the camera, and then I'll get the rest of them all peeled off. So the first thing you want to do is go ahead and break loose your wick holder. My experience with doing this, the wax when you pour it over can tend to have the wick holder dry to the wick, so you kind of just need to get that loose and then just go ahead and pull that off. Okay, so now we're left with this. So what we're going to do, and you can use a knife, cut the top, just roll it up and tear it off. Assuming that wants to work for me this time. Let's give it a try. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to tear that off. Just like that. There we are. So, I'm gonna go ahead and trim the wick and see the final product here. Alright, a pair of scissors works the best. You could use a knife. But I just honestly guesstimated how long to make my wick. So I'm just gonna use this one as a comparison. And say that that's good right about there. There you have it, our very own Beeswax candles. Thank you all for tuning in today. I appreciate your views. Hit the subscribe button, like the video, drop a comment below, and I will see you all next time.